My name is Jim Thompson. I farm in northwest Cass County in North Dakota. We raise corn, soybeans, dry beans, and spring wheat. Our operation covers about around 3,200 acres. Last year was abnormally dry. We had about 3.5 inches of rain during the growing season from the end of April until September. Following that, we had about 14.5 inches of rain during harvest, which actually didn't adversely affect us too much. The rain was able to soak in and was probably beneficial for us going into 2022. So that being said, we were a little bit negative on yields for soybeans. However, we found out that we had adequate subsoil to get most of the crop through. If it was on fairly heavy dirt, it actually did okay. Some of the lighter ground that requires rain every 2 weeks, that did burn up and we didn't see much production on those areas. I think when all is said and done, we probably averaged close to 40 bushel an acre, which for us is a good average crop. Taking into consideration what prices have done since then, we were probably 60% marketed going into the season. We had hauled all of our soybeans into the elevator at harvest time. They were bidding pretty aggressively throughout the year for that. And then we sold some small increments through the end of the year. We're still holding on to about 10% of our beans from last year. Going forward into 2022, we're gonna have a slightly increased acreage for soybeans. Most of that is due to rotation. So this year just works out, we're gonna have a few more soybeans this year. I'm fairly optimistic going into next year based on the fact that we got by with very little rain last year. We believe less rain is probably a little bit better for soybeans. They just can't handle wet feet. And they do a little bit better when it's a little bit drier. That being said, I don't want a repeat of last year because I think we flirted with disaster too much. We're probably 40% sold on new crop beans. We set our hedges with the local elevator and actually locked in our harvest basis here a week ago. The rest of our production, we're following the market right now pretty close. I'd have to say overall, I'm pretty optimistic going into 2022. So going into 2022, obviously input prices are up, fertilizer is up, herbicides are up, fungicides are going to be increased a little bit. We have done our break evens for corn and soybeans and dry beans and spring wheat. Corn is still very attractive for us, considering that we're set up for corn to handle it, to store it, to dry it. Soybeans are becoming more and more cost efficient for us as the prices are going up and the varieties are getting better. The herbicide systems that we've been using are increasing in price like everything else, but we're trying to spray less frequently if we can, hopefully keeping that cost down. Overall, it's going to be a tighter year, I think, because of the increase in fertilizer and input prices. I think guys are going to be paying close attention to their marketing strategy for this year. You know, as far as the crushing plants go, I think you increase the competition between the elevators that are going to export to the PNW. You might see a little bit of an advantage in the local basis. Depending on what the distance is to them, if the option is there to deliver directly to the plant, we will. If it's far enough away that maybe we can't keep up during harvest, you know, it may just go into storage until we can deliver to that plant, maybe in the winter months. You know, overall, I'd love to see a 15, 20, 25 cent improvement in basis if that's possible. Our basis historically around here has not been the greatest at harvest. However, in the last couple of years, they've really been bidding aggressively for harvest basis. So tough to really gauge what could happen in the next 3 to 5 years. I think it's just important to keep on top of your costs and decide what's best for each individual operation at the time. If you've got the manpower to move it, or if you just need to sit on it and watch for an improvement in basis. So as far as on-farm storage, we've been building and maintaining our grain bins here for the last 40 to 50 years. Typically, we would keep spring wheat, soybeans, and corn on the farm until winter delivery when, like I said, the cash basis would usually improve slightly. Typically, we have room for 50 to 60,000 bushels of soybeans. We have a capacity for 210,000 bushels of corn and around 50,000 bushels of wheat. But we can use the bins for beans or wheat if we have to. If we have a large corn crop, we'll try to use some of those bins for corn as well. We have a high temperature dryer that we use for drying the corn down to keep it in condition for storage. Corn harvest is intense. It's a lot of truckloads, it's long hours. but the return is good. Soybean harvest can be the same way. It can be long hours. It's very, very weather driven. Conditions need to be near perfect for harvesting soybeans, but with the equipment we have these days, you can get a lot done in a short amount of time. On our farm, the no-till that we've been utilizing for the past 15 years, that ground has typically been highly erodible. However, with the no-till, soil disturbance is low. So during the windy days that we always have here in the spring, it's very relaxing to know that dirt isn't going to go anywhere. There's always a cover on it, whether it's a cover crop or last year's residue that hasn't been disturbed. It also saves time and money on equipment. That's actually been a game changer for us on those acres. We've seen our returns come up on that quite a bit.